It's another daily drop. Yesterday we talked about 5 things to invest most in when it comes to vehicle-based adventure travel or camping. Today we're going to talk about areas that you can get away with maybe spending less on, going with the budget options. Number 1 on the list is a cooking set. You do not have to buy the best cooking set in the world when you go or for camping, for cooking on the road. So if you need somewhere to save money, it's a good place to. That being said, good cooking utensils and equipment cleans better, it cooks better, it transfers heat better, so you will get a better experience, but it certainly isn't over the list or on top of other things that I talked about yesterday, right? It's well below all that stuff. So cooking set is number 1. Number 2 is a fridge. You can cheap out on a fridge. You might regret it later, but in the short term, really there's tons of good budget friendly options that'll hold temperature and consume relatively little power and stuff like that. But I am hesitant to say, buy the cheapest fridge you can find, because the cheap ones do suck more power. They're going to break more often. You're probably going to spend more money on them than if you would have just bought a good one to begin with. So if you can, invest in a good fridge, but fridges are something that you can budget on up front if you just don't have the money. Some of the other things we talked about yesterday, recovery gear, sleep systems, med kit, suspension, shop labor, all that stuff is well above fridges. So in our opinion, a fridge is something that you can probably cheap out on to begin with. Third is a stove. You can get away with tons of inexpensive stoves. My favorite is the yard sale special Coleman, especially the old dual fuel ones. They actually perform really well. Okay, so you don't have to buy a partner steel just to go out on your 3, 4, 5 weekends a year. Okay, so pick up something that's affordable, that works really well, that has good BTU ratings and stuff like that, but you don't have to buy the best of the best. This is a good one that you can go budget on and it won't usually bite you later, right? So if you buy an old Coleman or even a cheap Coleman, a new one, they last pretty long. There's not a ton of failure points on those things, and they perform fairly well. One thing you will have probably trouble with cheaper stoves is heat control, right? The knobs, it's either like blazing hot or super cold, but we've worked around it for years, my wife and I, so I think you can too. Number 4. Number 4 on the list is tools. Harbor Freight specials work fine on the trail for most cases. Obviously, there might be someone that comments or chimes in about how they were on a trail and they trusted their Harbor Freight ratchet and it broke into 100 pieces and they couldn't get off the trail because of it. Well, I think they're an anomaly. It's much better to invest in some of the stuff we talked about yesterday and go budget on tools, and even maybe have more tools because you bought the Harbor Freight stuff than if you bought a bunch of Snap-on, right? So round out your tool roll, find the weak points, and then maybe upgrade later. But in my opinion, you can get away with some pretty cheap tools, Harbor Freight tools, to get you by, especially to start out with. Really, the important thing is just make sure you have a full tool roll of things that you need. Okay, so buy good tools. Now that being said, or buy the tools you need, you can go budget on them. But that being said, there is a reason, or there are reasons that some tools cost more than others, right? They perform better, they're more reliable, they're just better overall. Okay, and so they might be worth investing in. But up front, if you need to save cash, save it when it comes to your tool roll. 4th, lighting. No, last. 5th, lighting. You don't need to have the best lighting in the game on your truck. Aux beam works well, especially starting out. Not everyone needs to run Heretics or whatever, a bunch of Baja LP6s or the top of the line stuff. So you can probably cheap out here to begin with, budget wise. Don't buy the best lights in the game and not have a good recovery kit, or don't buy the best lights in the game and not have a good sleeping bag, right? So, or med kit. So lighting is something that you can probably budget on up front and upgrade as you need to, or as you find you need to. I've never run an aux, fun fact, I don't travel a ton. I probably do, me personally, I probably do 7 weekends a year, and I try to do a couple big trips in between there. You know, I haven't had an aux light on my truck in 7 years, you know. And there are people out there who travel much more than me, and you know, they're traveling the whole country. They're Pan American with aux beams across their truck and stuff. So if you need to, go budget. That being said, lighting, good lighting outperforms cheap lighting, you know, 100%. Right? There's a reason it costs what it does, the good stuff, when it comes to coverage patterns and color spectrums and stuff like that, and just straight up lumens. So the good stuff is investing in, trust me, but I would hesitate to invest in the best lighting if you haven't already invested in some of the stuff we talked about yesterday. And again, if you haven't seen yesterday's video, make sure you go back and watch it. I had a couple, that's my list. That's my list of 5 areas that you can go budget on. I'm sure there's more. If there is more, let us know in the comments. There are some nominations. A lot of people like to say drawers can go really low on the budget. It's like you can DIY some, or you could just buy the cheapest option out there. That might be true, but it's worth really considering about what a drawer system is going to do, or what part it's going to play in your vehicle. For most vehicles, drawer system becomes the center of everything. I see it time and time again that a simple drawer system turns into a home for a fridge or an electronic system and dual battery mounts and stuff like that. So a drawer system can quickly become the center of your rig, the center of everything going on inside of it. And it's worth considering investing in a good one. It's also worth considering durability, longevity, and noise, right? A lot of the cheaper drawer systems based on ball bearings in a channel, I'm not going to call out any brands or manufacturers, but they're noisy, and they'll get noisier over the life of them. They've got metal frames and stuff like that. There's a lot of reasons why maybe we use wood in our framing or plywood in our framing, and perhaps I'd make a good video in the future. But cheap drawer systems just don't perform super well, and they can make your life miserable pretty quick. So that's a nomination. Maybe some people might fight me on that, but I don't think it belongs on the budget list. Some people might disagree with me. I don't have any other nominations, I don't think. But if you do, let us know. Otherwise, tomorrow we're going to talk all about high lift jacks. It's a hot topic. It's worth checking in. So join me, like, subscribe, let us know what you want to hear about. Thanks again. All right, bye-bye.